Hello, I'm Chris Slight, the editor of International Construction magazine, and I'd like to spend a few minutes talking about the 2008 edition of our league table of the world's 200 largest construction companies. The ranking is based on company revenues in 2007, and as you can imagine, with the turmoil in the US housing market and the slowdown in some other mature markets, Japan in particular, there have been some big changes in the league table. At the same time, major emerging markets have continued to boom, and this has seen Chinese contractors in particular climb the rankings. But first, what's not changed since last year? Once again, the top two spots in the league table were held by two French groups, Vinci at number 1 and Bouygues at number 2. It's the 8th year in a row that these two companies have held those positions, although the gap between Bouygues and this year's third place company, Spain's ACS, was a small one. ACS's rise pushed the large US company Bechtel down one place to 4th, while 5th and 6th places were taken by Chinese contractors. China Railway Construction Corporation took a massive leap up 17 positions last year from 23rd to 6th, and also new in the top 10 is China Communications Construction Group in 9th place. The other newcomer to the top 10 is Ferrovial in 8th place, which along with ACS underlines that 2007 was a very good year for Spanish contractors as well as the Chinese. Of the 11 Spanish contractors in the top 200 league table, 9 improved their standings this year compared to the 2007 edition. All 9 of the Chinese contractors also moved up the rankings this year. In contrast, it was a very bad year for Japan's construction companies. Of the 35 contractors and house builders ranked in the top 200, 31 lost places compared to last year. One of the results of this is that it is the first time in the history of the league table that there was no Japanese contractor in the top 10. The highest place was Kojima Corporation at 14th, down 6 places from 8th last year. Japan's 5 largest construction companies all made it into the top 20 this year, but Kojima, Taisei and Shimizu all lost places compared to last year. Obayashi moved up 1 position to establish itself ahead of Shimizu in the Japanese domestic standings, and Daiwa House stayed at 18th position. Daiwa House was the world's largest specialist house builder in this year's rankings. In last year's league table, the US company Lennar held that title, ranked very high at number 7. But the US residential market is of course extraordinarily difficult at the moment. Conditions for house builders are said to be the worst since the Great Depression of the 1930s, and as a result these companies have plummeted down the league table this year. Lennar, for example, is down a massive 24 places to 31st this year, and its peer group, companies like Centex, D.R. Horton and Pulte Homes, to name just 3, have also fallen heavily. It's not just the revenues that have suffered for these companies. From being highly profitable in recent years, 2007 saw US house builders suffer massive financial losses. In 2006, just past the peak of the US residential boom, America's 15 largest house builders had revenues of just over $110 billion US, and their operating profits were $9 billion. That gave them a profit margin of 8.2%. The margin was at its best in 2005 at an impressive 14.7%. But all that changed in 2007. Total revenues fell more than 30% to $77 billion, and the 15 companies went from a profit to an operating loss of more than $10 billion US. This had an impact on the profitability of the sector as a whole. Looking at the top 100, for which the most complete data is available, revenues and profit margins grew steadily for the 5 years from 2002 to 2006. However, last year's figures, which are the basis for this year's rankings, saw revenues climb again, but there was a sharp fall in operating margin, from 6.2% in 2006 to 4.35%. The full report on the top 200 contractors league table is available in the July-August edition of International Construction, and the issue can be downloaded in PDF format from the International Construction section of KHL.com. You can also apply for a subscription to the magazine on the website. As well as the league table, the article contains more in-depth analysis of the world's 200 largest construction companies, and last year these had total revenues of $1.14 trillion US. That's about equal to a quarter of the total world construction output last year. So thanks for your attention, and I hope you found this video interesting. For the latest news on the global construction industry, I'd encourage you to visit our website, khl.com. You can also sign up for our free weekly newsletter, World Construction Week, in the e-newsletter section. Thank you.